You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV in St. Andrews. And now, here's two guys who got cut from the Raptors to make room for the return of Kawhi Leonard, Evan and Joe.
I'm Joe Ticotsky down in New Haven, Connecticut.
I'm Evan McFarlane here melting in St. Andrews, New Brunswick.
And you're watching episode 97 of Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV, sponsored by Coverbridge Chips from the St. John River Valley. And as the old saying goes, let the chips fall right into my mouth, baby. Once again, it's chips for breakfast.
Attaboy.
And since my sodium count at my last checkup was very good, I'll be making up for that stunning fact by sampling their traditional sea salt chips. There we go, right in the camera.
There we go.
These early morning chip tastings are not the best way to eat them.
Does your doctor watch this show?
No.
Okay, good. Let's keep it that way.
That's a good solid sea salt chip.
Yeah, you've dialed it down from the other flavors you've been trying.
Luca Hall, shout out. Go check them out in PEI. How about the Kawhi Leonard trade? Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, well, the NBA is certainly making a splash this offseason, if anything. They're keeping us engaged. We'll leave it at that. But I don't know. It seems like a lot to pay for a guy who's getting older, but he just keeps performing. And if you're like me and any other Raptors fan, if he can do what he did the last time he was here, then I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it gives him some buzz, and he seems to like Toronto, although I don't know if anyone's actually ever heard him say that or anything. But
yeah, there could be a couple things around why he likes Toronto, but we're pumped to have probably the best defensive front in basketball for a league that doesn't play defense. A guy like me who loves defense is pretty excited about it.
It is good to see him back. Like, onto a quick music spotlight, which we haven't done in a while. Matt Hughes, a singer-songwriter from Halifax. His new single is called Coleslaw Summer.
Right.
Awesome title. Very catchy tune with a cool little video. The song is on his new EP titled South Facing Dumpster. You can check that out wherever you get your music these days, and you can also check his website at matthughesmusic.com, as well as his Instagram account at Matt Hughes Music, and there's only one T in his Matt, so Matt Hughes.
Sure.
Well, after this short break, we'll have our annual interview with Tom Liston, who will get us up to speed on the progress of the world's oldest basketball court. You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV, sponsored by the good folks at Coverbridge Chips. That's a good chip. Welcome back to Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV, sponsored by Coverbridge Chips. Tom Liston of St. Andrews is the chair of fundraising for the world's oldest basketball court, the Basketball Experience Center, which, once opened, will be located in nearby St. Stephen, New Brunswick. And next month, the organization will be hosting the Canada Basketball Hall of Fame induction ceremony, the first time this has ever been held in Atlantic, Canada. And to tell us more about everything connected with the world's oldest basketball court, let's welcome in Tom Liston. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Joe.
I think you may be joining Brandon Sherrod as part of the Five Timers Club. How many times have you been on the show?
Certainly an honor to be beside him, for sure.
That's probably bigger than having a fistful of rings, actually.
You get you one of those smoking jackets with a 5 on it, like on Saturday Night Live. All right, tell our viewers who don't know the story of how the fire in the St. Croix Vocational Center back in 2010 basically led to the discovery of the court that's currently recognized as the world's oldest.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild story and ultimately a fantastic story that this was discovered. The vocational center, St. Croix Vocational Center, was a thrift shop that raised money locally and my understanding was, many times after hours, people would leave a bag of clothes or gifts or goods to donate. And whether it was arson or someone just mistakenly flicked a cigarette, something happened and the clothes caught fire and went up through the front of the building. Um, the good news was the fire department was on it and they put it out fairly quickly. The other good news is what was discovered to be an old basketball court was at the back, an old YMCA section was at the back of the building, so it was untouched. And when the fire happened, a few local St. Stephen residents, Don Walker, Darren McCabe, and some others knew that there was a YMCA there, knew there was some type of historic game, thought it might be even Canada's first basketball court. But when they put out that fire, they pulled up some carpet and they took down some drop ceilings and kind of reminded them like, wait, this is YMCA. This court looks still preserved. Let's do some research. So the team, I think it was almost 2 years of research. They knew the first international game was played there, but when they uncovered the research, they realized that obviously Springfield College, that first court that Naismith taught the game in, that was burned down 100 years ago. It's actually McDonald's parking lot, which I visited. And of the original courts, which really came to be from the original basketball team that Naismith hosted, which was the students, they went all around the world to YMCAs and brought the game all over the world. And of those existing original courts, there's only two exist, one in Paris, France, and one in St. Stephen, New Brunswick. And we realized we predate it by a number of weeks. So we can hold claim to the world's oldest basketball court.
Amazing.
Great.
Evan.
I'm gonna get right to the point, Tom. The big question that everybody wants to know is how's the fundraising going, and when do you estimate that the Basketball Experience Center is actually going to open?
Yeah, no, good question. So we've had a lot of success on multiple levels. So we're trying to raise 6 million from private donors, different foundations, corporations. 6 million from the provincial government is an ask, and 6 million to the federal government. And we've made tremendous progress on all three fronts. We've raised over half on the corporate and individual side. We've had a lot of donors step up early. What's great is we've had a lot of very active discussions as we're going to host the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame ceremony. It's just one of those things that becomes that much more real. We haven't even built out the facility that you see behind me in my background. The oldest court exists, but the new concept is not built yet. But yet we were able to attract significant tourism to the Archie, and we were able to attract Canada basketball to our backyard. So now people see the economic lift that we always saw, but now it's a little bit more proven. So we've had a lot of momentum on all three levels, and we're feeling extremely positive that we can close the gap in the next number of months.
Evan, did you send your check out yet?
Yes.
Yeah, it bounced.
Now, after that, the good news is we're starting a second design development phase basically as we speak. So then once we close the fundraising gap, hopefully we'll be able to get shovels to the ground fairly quickly after because we'll have the design, fairly close to completion when we do that. So we're kind of moving ahead as we're closing the gap. So it'll still take a few years, of course, to get finished, but we're pretty excited with the latest progress.
Nice. Now, the Archie Golf Tournament comes up on August 21st, which once this airs will be only a couple weeks away. And it'll be held at Evans' home track, the Algonquin Golf Course. Tell us about the event and how it got the name the Archie.
Yeah, sure. So early on, Maestro Fresh West, a junior award winner, it had moved to St. John, spent a lot of time in St. John, and he visited the court. And we connected once the court started to get its legs. We were in the front page of the Globe and Mail, and we started talking to Maestro, being a bit of an ambassador for it. And we both had this idea that there was this Joe Carter Classic, the famous Blue Jays baseball player, held in Toronto that both of us had attended. And we obviously had in Evan's backyard there one of the nicest courses in Canada. So we thought that could be the basis of a charity event to raise more awareness and money for the court. And at one point, I was going to call it the Lyman Archibald Classic, named after the gentleman that brought the game right from Naismith's. He was one of Naismith's students to St. Stephen, New Brunswick, a gentleman from Truro, Nova Scotia. And he thought that was not the best marketing. Felt a little old and maybe lame. So we nicknamed the Archie to give it a little bit of a buzz, and it's been great ever since. So since we started with mainly the golf tournament, we've added Maritime Kitchen Party. We added, most importantly, youth programming. We have a coaches clinic. So we'll have some of the best coaches and players across Canada come to St. Stephen, New Brunswick, to golf, to mingle with our guests, but also to coach kids for all of $10. So it's important that we really reach out in the community. And this year we'll elevate it even more with the Canada Basketball Hall of Fame ceremony. So we're pretty excited about what the tournament's going to bring this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been part of the golf organization side since it started, and it just gets bigger and bigger every year. And this year, the day before the golf tournament, you mentioned the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame will hold its induction ceremony right in St. Stephen, marking the first time this induction ceremony is going to be held in Atlantic Canada. Can you tell us how you even thought of this and then how you actually got it to come through?
Yeah, so well, to, people like you say it's going to get bigger and bigger, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And then at some point, I'm like, I don't know how we're going to get bigger. Like, I don't have that many more levers to pull. Got a little lucky. I've been talking to Michael Bartlett, the CEO of Canada Basketball, for years, frankly, on different aspects of this project. And what was great is people like Paul Jones, who I think he's on the board of directors for Canada Basketball, and I think he heads the selection committee. He's been obviously a staple from day one, and a number of people that have been really close to Canada Basketball, either coaches or what have you, say how great this event was. And what's great is Canada Basketball's always had it in Toronto for 50 years. They had it, I think, once in Vancouver, maybe 2007, and they realized they could leverage the people that we bring. We'll bring a couple hundred to a ceremony, whereas normally they might have 70 in downtown Toronto, and we can bring a lot of excitement, and they can visit the court and they can see that history. And of course, we have a memorandum of understanding with Canada Basketball to be part of their Hall of Fame. There's no physical Hall of Fame. We like to be the first one. And they can see the court. We're going to have the ceremony right across from the court. And St. Stephen's actually shutting down King Street for the whole day. We're going to have a massive festival and a lot of music before and after. And we're going to really show Canada Basketball how much we can like elevate this ceremony and try to be a bit of the default for them to come back at some point. But frankly, it was Michael Bartlett that reached out to me on it, which was really awesome. And certainly I said yes before he before he even got it out of his mouth that of course we can host it and we'd love to host it. So we're absolutely thrilled about that concept. So we have a lot of dignitaries already committed to come, and it'll be just a heck of an event.
Cool.
Exciting stuff going on. Tom, before you go, I'd like to personally thank you and the rest of Canada for giving us OG Anunoby. Thank you. Thank you. We did it.
He's such a, I don't know if glue guy's the right word, but just he can plug in any offense. He was an underrated at the time acquisition, and now it's certainly paid off. And yeah, wow.
Yeah, awesome guy to have. Well, in all seriousness, I would like to thank you for being such a positive force behind youth basketball in your current place of residence in Toronto and in your summer place of residence in St. Andrews. And now at the world's oldest basketball court, you're helping to spread the incredible history of the sport in Canada. Well, he is local legend Tom Liston. We're calling you a local legend, soon to be national legend. He is the chair of fundraising for the world's oldest basketball court. You can find out more by going to their really, really good website, as well as their Instagram account, both currently, hopefully, being shown on the bottom of the screen here. Tom, thanks again for coming on the show, and we'll see you in St. Andrews in a few weeks.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate your support.
Well, after this short break, we'll be back with another edition of Small Town Spotlight. You're watching episode 97 of Mc&T Sports Report, sponsored by Covered Bridge Chips on CHCO-TV in St. Andrews. Welcome back to Mc&T Sports Report, sponsored by Covered Bridge Chips. On this episode of Small Town Spotlight, we'll hang a right turn out of the CHCO parking lot and head west for about 45 hours until we reach Edmonton, the capital city in the province of Alberta. For the past 47 years, the Edmonton Folk Festival has been a mainstay on the summer music circuit, and on August 6th through 9th, it will be no different. So to get us up to speed on everything involving the festival, let's welcome in Terry Wickham, producer of the Edmonton Folk Festival. Terry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Joe. Great to be here.
Now, how long have you lived in Edmonton, and how long have you worked for the festival?
Well, this is my 38th festival, so, lived here for 38 years.
Okay. Now, obviously, you're not from Edmonton originally, where that accent does not sound Canadian.
Well, Dublin in Ireland. That's where I grew up. I moved to Canada when I was 21.
Okay, great. Now, the logistics of putting on a festival this size, it's got to be mind-boggling. You told me you have 9 full-time staff and 2,800 volunteers, which is amazing. But you also mentioned the festival is actually held in a residential community. So tell me about how that works.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we have about 25,000 people come down a day. So there are festivals that are 10 times the size of us, and we're 10 times the size of smaller festivals. So we're kind of a mid-size. Yeah, we're held in a place called it's called Cloverdale, and there's about 500 residents, and we give them all free weekend passes. So that kind of sweetens it because we're a fair bit of work down there with trucks coming in and porta potties and stages and just like a construction site for a month. But yeah, I mean, the volunteers are great. My job is to get us to opening time, then it's their job to run the festival, and I troubleshoot.
Okay, now how many different stages do you have?
We've got 7 stages. We have a main stage, and when the main stage goes, everything else is shut down. I've seen a lot of festivals that run a secondary stage, and I don't like that. It takes away from the main stage. And then we have 6 other stages where there's concerts, and we have, one in a kind. We call them sessions. Other people call them workshops, but they're not real workshops. They're sessions. So you might have 3 or 4 songwriters together based on a theme, which are pretty loose. We don't want to tell people how to play. But they're unique to Canadian festivals. Newport used to do it a long time ago. I think they might be getting back into it. But the Canadian festivals have kept that alive.
Okay. Now, most music festivals have other non-music activities, and yours is no different there. What can people expect besides music?
Well, first of all, it'll be very friendly. We've never had any police incidents. Children are free under 12, so there's thousands of children that come down. So we have a children's area that have activities and face painting. There's a playground. There's a splash park that we help build. There's beer, obviously, really good selection of food. We have local artisans that sell their crafts. And we have an indigenous area that teaches people about the history and how people live. Indigenous is called Nemoan, which means song in Cree.
Okay, cool. Now, I was checking out online the tickets, and I noticed the prices are really reasonable. 4-day adult pass is about 244 Canadian, which is about 172 US for our viewers there for 4 days of pretty good music. But tell us about some of the unique age discounts that you offer, which lowers the prices even more.
Well, as I say, children being free, seniors used to be free, but now it's seniors over 80. We also have a plan where if it's a financial hardship to buy a ticket for a senior, then we let them in for free. They just phone me. And it's Canada, so I only get about 10 calls, and we don't look into people's finances. The very fact that they make the call, good enough, then you feel like you need it. We have discounts for seniors, about $50 to $60 off a weekend pass from the price you mentioned. So it's under $200. And the same for people who turn it, like youth are half price, 12 to 17, and then so families keep bringing them down. That's an important number because that's your future audience. And then we have a rate about $60 off for people who are 18 to 24. A lot of people have student discounts, but I just think there's a lot of people who aren't students that like music too, and they might be working in coffee shops and that. So we just make it an age thing. So that's our discounts. Yeah, we're very happy and very proud of our ticket prices. And it's our volunteers are the extra sauce. We also receive about $1 million in funding from between the 3 levels of government, which you might not get down in the States. So we're not for profit. So it's a good thing.
Okay. Now, I saw online that only opening day passes still remain. Is that true?
We've pretty well sold out since 1995. In 94, we added a Thursday night, and we got Joni Mitchell, which was a coup for us. We were delighted with that. And then the next year we got Elvis Costello, and then our weekend passes have sold out since then. I consider sold out if you're at 98, 99%. Yeah, the weekend passes and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because they have a lot of music in them, they sell very quickly, usually in the first day, because we're on Ticketmaster, so they just, they just fly out the door. We don't have any dynamic pricing or any of those games, and we allow people to swap their tickets if, maybe a wedding pops up later on and they want to sell their ticket. As long as they sell it for what they bought it for, we facilitate that. So it's all very friendly. It's all very Canadian.
Yeah. So if Thursdays are open, it's August 6th. My sister and her son, that's their birthday. Maybe I'll buy them a pair of tickets and they can hoof it out there. You never know. All right, let's get let's get to the music stuff. There's almost 60 different musical acts. Some of the bigger names, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, Nathaniel Ratliff playing solo. He's leaving the Night Sweats behind. And for us old schoolers, Arrested Development, the band, not the TV show. But besides those, give us 2 or 3 acts people may not have heard of that you look forward to seeing this year.
Well, Kate Rusby is an English folkie. She's kind of queen of the folk scene over there. She's been around for many years. She's played us before. And they're flying in just to play us and from England and then flying home, which I take as a real compliment. There's a Gwennifer Raymond from just a great guitar player from Wales. I think she's a physicist in another life. There's just many. I mean, Jelly Tapa. There's Madalitzo from Africa. We believe in a lot of different genres. So there's Bluegrass, Staley and Vincent. They're going to be, they played before, but they'll be a big hit. They're very lively. The bluegrass players, you have to be great in bluegrass if you want to, play it. They're very serious about their craft.
Also, I saw the band The Sacred Souls, which I've been trying to find a date to catch them in the U.S., and I haven't so far, but they're an awesome group.
Yeah, that's Thursday night, and the Womack sisters are they're touring with them in the summer, so they came with the package. There's a lot of Monsters and Men from Iceland, Amble from Ireland. We get music from all over the place. So yeah, a lot of Canadians, obviously, many Canadians.
Nice. Well, the festival's seen many established and up and coming performers over the 47 years. In your humble opinion, what are some of the biggest names that have played the festival?
I guess Van Morrison in 2010.
I've heard of him.
That's pretty good. And then that year we also had Brandy Carlisle, who was unknown at the time, and John Prine and all sorts of people. Actually, John Prine went on media, said that Edmonton is the finest folk festival in the world. So that was a very good day in the office when I got that call. I used to do his concerts as well, and he was scheduled to close the 2020 festival, and then the world changed. So, and then life ended for him through the pandemic because of the COVID. But there's been others like Joni Mitchell and The Roots, The National, The War on Drugs. We take a wide kind of sweep when it comes to folk music.
Very, very impressive. Well, he is Terry Wickham, producer of the Edmonton Folk Festival, running this year, August 6th through 9th. You can find out more about the festival by going to edmontonfolkfest.com and on Instagram at edmfolkfest. And unbeknownst to him, Terry will be hooking me up with a nice festival t-shirt to add to my collection. Thank you in advance for that. I'll pay for it.
They're free.
Yeah.
Actually, we give all the artists free t-shirts. And people say, why do you do that? Well, people turn up on shows every now and then and they're wearing our t-shirt. So, or they wear it they wear it when they're playing. We make sure they're nice. Rhiannon Giddens was doing a thing with T-Bone Burnett, and I got all these calls saying, hey, she's wearing our sweatshirt. It's got our logo on it. And one time I got a call from my brother, who's a pilot in England, and who's Victoria Beckham was wearing a t-shirt, an Edmonton Folk Festival t-shirt. I thought he was pulling my leg, but it was from the 1980s. I think it might have been one of those. There's a real secondhand thing going on in New York at the time, and t-shirts and all that. And there she was, wearing her t-shirt in like a big spread. So It's just fine.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, and best of luck on what I know will be another 4 great days of music in Edmonton.
Good. Well, let me know if you ever want to come up. You have my number. Just give me a call and we'll make arrangements. Okay.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Joe.
And we are back. A good interview there with Terry from the upcoming Edmonton Folk Festival. Evan, have you ever been out to Edmonton?
I have not. No, I haven't made it too far to the other side of our country. It's something I need to get better at doing.
You've ever been out of St. Andrews?
Come on.
Yeah, you're a big PEI guy. Well, once again, we have run out of time, but I will soon be cruising the mean streets of St. Andrews in a few weeks as I'll be up for our annual basketball camp. So I look forward to getting together with you at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. We've started putting the signs up to warn everybody. So by the time you're here, we should have everything set up in place.
Triple coverage at the border in St. Stephen, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Careful.
Well, that is it for episode 97 of Mc&T Sports Report. I am Joe down here in New Haven, Connecticut.
I'm Evan here in St. Andrews, sweltering New Brunswick.
Thanks to Patrick Watt and Florence Mitchell for producing and editing a show that often has about as much action as a 0-0 World Cup soccer game. You've been watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV in St. Andrews. We'll see you next time.